Hello and welcome to the WolfVision booth at InfoComm 2019. I'm Michael Lisi and I'm standing here with Lea Ann Turner
Hi.
from Mid-State Technical College. She is the award recipient of the Instructional Technology Specialist of the Year. So congratulations on this last night.
Thank you.
And she has agreed to come chat with us today about the application of WolfVision Cynap technology at Mid-State Technical College, where you've deployed a good number of our Cynap systems
to
today.
Full
right?
campuses now, yes.
That's fantastic. And so we're excited to have you in the booth. We want to talk a little bit about what your experience has been like with our technology. But before we do, maybe you can kind of give a quick overview of where did you start from before Cynap, BC?
Okay. So my term for pre-Cynap is BC, before Cynap. And we had a plethora of technology in the buildings. We have 4 different campuses. We were tasked at one point with writing documentation for each classroom so an instructor could walk in and know what to do. And I called it the documentation nightmare. It was just scary. So we began a search for a technology that would meet all of the needs of our instructors. And it was a vision of our IT director. I'm actually from the academic side of the house. And the decision was to let academics drive the decision making in this. So we got our faculty involved and said, what do you want? And they began to share their vision with us for what they wanted in the classroom. And I think the biggest thing for some faculty was just make it easy. That's what we want, is easy. And others said, I want it to do everything it possibly can. We want multi-device linking. We want to be able to, for the iOS and Android and PCs and Macs to all be able to come together in an environment. We want digital whiteboarding. We want touchscreen monitors in the front of the room. So when we were looking at all the possibilities, Cynap rose to the top. We did a faculty in service and invited all of the faculty in. We didn't just invite them, they were required to come. Okay. And went through that process of showing them 3 different technologies. They actually got their hands on it. We invited the least techie people to the front of the room, and they got their hands on it and had to go through a checklist of things that we had set aside for them. And then they built their ideas about the technology by getting their hands dirty, getting it on the technology.
So we're going to go into the WolfVision booth in a moment in the education area, but one quick question also. So functionally, what functions did you not have before the Cynap? So what were you able to do before this process began?
Before the Cynap, instructors were tethered to their computer, or to the instructor station. They really didn't have a way that they could get out and move among the students. They had to be right there if they wanted to use any type of technology. So this gave them the opportunity to get out from behind that little podium.
Fantastic. And I'm sure we're going to talk more about recording and video conferencing in a minute,
yes.
But let's go into the InfoComm booth and we'll continue the conversation from there.
All right, sounds great.
Let's go. But I think that was good because, to your point, they chose it. It wasn't imposed on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so fast forward. It sounded like a great idea and you had buy-in. Now you started installing these things in the classroom and a faculty member is supposed to walk in here and teach. How did you prepare them?
Well, and we did it as a pilot first. We learned very early on, pilots are so important because you learn from those. And we actually tried another technology previously and the pilot was a big fail. And so we were able to step back without spending all of our money and say, we don't want that one, we want something else. So our rollout, once again, we did a pilot and we actually integrated it in all of our Cisco telepresence rooms. And so we had 54 faculty that teach in those rooms, and they are not all techie people. So this was a really good pilot. We got the techie people, the non-techie people, the full-time faculty, part-time faculty, and they all had their hands on this and gave us feedback. The beauty of Cynap is that you can modify as you go. So as we were getting feedback from faculty, we were turning on buttons and turning off buttons and making it that ideal environment for our instructors. We learned very early on also that you want to give them something familiar along with something new. So with Cynap, you don't have to have a computer connected to it. You can run everything from the Cynap. But our instructor said, oh, please don't take away the computer. We need something a little bit familiar. So we made the Cynap monitor our second screen, our dual monitor for the computer. That has been a huge win for us. They also said don't take away our whiteboards. So the IT said, hey, we don't need whiteboards anymore, we've got digital. And faculty said no. You give them a little bit of what they want, it goes a long way.
That's right, you gotta make some concessions.
That's right.
And you probably point the camera, maybe the web camera that's connected to the center, just point that at the whiteboard.
Right,
And that's
there you
how
go.
Record.
You're
You're a Panopto campus.
We are a
also,
Panopto-enabled campus.
Let's talk about recording a little bit.
Oh my goodness, that's a great feature. So I made special accounts in Panopto that connect to each Cynap room. So when the user needs to do this, they can provision Panopto to the Cynap room. They go into the room, they click the record button, choose the folder that they want it to go into, and boom, when they're done, the recording is right there in Panopto. We've got 4 faculty that are using that just gangbusters right now. They love it. So that's awesome.
And we happen to be standing in front of our vSolution Matrix station. You also have some active learning spaces.
We do.
Can you give us some feedback on that? What was the result? How's that?
So our IT program had some active learning spaces and in an old system, and it was very complex and very clunky and they were unhappy all the time. So we put the Matrix, isn't that it's fitting.
Where's Keanu?
Right. We put the Matrix in one of their classrooms, and it has been a huge hit. So the programming students are sitting around, they can share their programming code with each other, they can share it at the front of the classroom. It's just been phenomenal. It was so popular, we're adding it to another IT programming classroom and to other active learning classrooms that are just for regular instructors. So they've got the pods and they'll have the monitors.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. Last one is, so the low-tech faculty, the ones that everyone was afraid about, they were not going to get aboard. What has been their reaction to you recently?
Well, let me show you, because I've done the training. I only train 3 faculty at a time. I won't do more than that because I want them hands-on with it. And so we introduced the 3 buttons. So I call this yellow button the easy button. That's how they know it. Even when they talk to me now, they'll say I touched the easy button and here's what I found or whatever. So we touch the easy button and they can pull up their programming. The second menu we talk about is the contextual menu. If I've got this up, I get a special menu with that. And so they know that every input that they pull up, they've got that contextual menu. And then finally, we have, I call it the more button, I think you call it the etc. button. I like that. I may adopt that.
More sounds good. I like more.
So we click those 3 dots and they have other menus that they can use. And for our non-techie users, I say don't even worry about that. You don't even need that. Just worry about the easy button.
They just come in and just plug in a laptop and
Yeah, we do have computers in there, but they can also plug in laptops. And we have all kinds of users. They kind of pick how they want to format it. So.
And there was some interesting. Actually, there is a question I want to ask about, like mistakes made or things you would, what would you say to someone who's preparing to roll out Cynap or involve Cynap in their classroom?
The one failure.
What would you say?
The one failure was the people that were installing did it quicker than they thought they would get done. And I had a faculty member that walked into the room and he didn't know it was going to change, and it did. I didn't get to him in time. And he called me and he said, "What the heck, Lea Ann? My room is all different." So I literally walked him through it over the phone. He was fine and loves it now. So.
And you also said you've got a lot of remote support capabilities now.
We do.
Those sites. So I've heard that happens when people call and you'll just kind of
Absolutely. So we do have 4 different campuses, and each campus is about an hour away from the other. So there's a tool called vSolution Link, and we pull that up. I can pull up their Cynap just using IP codes, and we troubleshoot at a distance. So it's super simple. Even on a Saturday morning, we just started Saturday morning classes, and I got an email from an instructor, something's not working, and I was able to sit in my bed, literally in my pajamas, and pull it up and fix the problem.
That's amazing. And the last thing, there were a couple of interesting applications you talked about, and I was wondering, most interesting use cases for the technology you've seen today.
Okay.
My last one.
So we do have an EMT instructor and he's a part-time instructor, but he is techie. So he said, I want my GoPro to go to this out on the ambulance. I want us sitting in the classroom and my partner out on the ambulance doing stuff with the GoPro. So he hooked up the GoPro through his phone. sat in the classroom, and they were able to broadcast from his phone to the Cynap and show parts of the ambulance or do whatever. It was really cool. Another thing that we did, we had a cooking demonstration. We have a new hospitality culinary program, and my partner in crime at work said, hey, I think we can make this work. We had a Cynap on a portable unit, so he rolls it into where the demo's going to be, hooked up a camera to it, plugged it in HDMI, and so the cooking demo, we got the visual of the front of the person doing the cooking as well as a top-down camera looking at the food and doing all of that. And it was impressive. It was really, and that was thrown together in like 40 minutes.
That's awesome. Absolutely great work at Midstate. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us here in the booth. It's a pleasure to have you on board. And for more information about WolfVision, you can visit our website, www.wolfvision.com. And having worked with Lea Ann, I'm sure she'd be willing to respond to personal emails and such about these topics.
Yes.
So stay tuned here at InfoComm 2019. Thank you so much.
Thank you.